I have dental insurance, but I still have to call the dentist and ask, how much is this filling going to be? Do you accept my insurance? And then go to sites like Yelp or Google reviews to look at the reviews and read ratings and try to get a sense of the quality of the provider. So just very time consuming and cumbersome. And so it's kind of just a matter of DentalFynd is our first product to essentially just help A, consumers avoid those surprise dental charges, and then B.
Hey there, dental economist. If you're a dentist owner or a leader within a dental business thinking about growing production, case acceptance, patient and staff satisfaction, positive outcomes, and everything else that comes with running a dental business, then you're a dental economist, and you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Dental Economist Show. We're meeting at the intersection of profit and purpose as I sit down with dental leaders who share their stories about dentistry, business, and growth. Welcome back to the Dental Economist Show with me, Mike Huffaker. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying the show, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment or a review. Your support really helps us bring top-tier insights to the dental industry and to more dental professionals looking to grow their business. Today, I'm excited to welcome Tobi Bosede, the founder and president of People of Color in Dental, an organization built to elevate and support people of color within the dental industry. Tobi is also the founder of DentalFynd, an AI-powered platform offering fee-for-service dental patients to help practices grow. Tobi has an impressive background in mathematics and statistics, a deep experience in machine learning and AI. Tobi, pleasure to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. To start things off, I did a little LinkedIn stalking, and you have quite the academic background. Maybe walk through, did you always have a passion for mathematics and statistics and kind of these hard studies that many people shy away from?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, when did I start getting, I guess in a way, yes, because I've always been interested in science fiction. And like, when you're thinking about bringing things to life and you're very wrapped up in fantasy and things like that, a lot of those things do involve like the hard sciences and mathematics and statistics. And so I kind of just, instead of doing like, I was pre-med as well. So I did do like chemistry and stuff like that and biology. But in terms of like my degrees, just went into like the technology direction. And like, I'm a huge Trekkie. So yeah.
I was going to ask, when you went into the science fiction, what specifically shows? You said Star Trek, you're a Trekkie. Books, any other like parts of that world that you're a big fan of?
Definitely the shows, and The Next Generation is my favorite. The movies are like, okay. I think Ryan Reynolds has been in it. So yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, so talk us through a little bit. How did you get into dentistry? Like, how did you find your way into this space?
Yeah, super like windy path for sure. So basically, when I was working at Capital One as a machine learning software engineer, AI software engineer, we were working on products like And so a lot of the patents that I have and the algorithms I worked on were around helping people avoid surprise credit card charges. And so is a chatbot that Capital One has to prevent surprise charges for their consumers, their customers. And at the same time, I was super frustrated when it came to purchasing healthcare services. And for example, with dentistry, it was, I have dental insurance, but I still have to call the dentist and ask, how much is this filling going to be? Do you accept my insurance? And then go to sites like Yelp or Google reviews to look at the reviews and read ratings and try to get a sense of the quality of the provider. So just very time consuming and cumbersome of a consumer experience when it came to healthcare, and dentistry in particular was the start, just because it's sort of simpler than the medical space in terms of like how insurance works in dentistry. A lot of people are paying out of pocket and dealing with these really poor consumer experiences. And so it's kind of just a matter of DentalFynd is our first product to essentially just help A, consumers avoid those surprise dental charges, and then B, helping dentists acquire these fee-for-service patients so that the transactions just occur in a very efficient manner.
Yeah, so you're at Capital One, you're working on this product, the AI chatbot. What did you say the name of it was? And you start to, have this idea sprout about a new business that you can found. Kind of, you're drawn to healthcare. You see the problems that the industry is facing and some ways where you can help contribute to solving it. What was ultimately what kind of pushed you over the edge to launch your own entrepreneurial kind of path? Like, I feel like a lot of people get really fearful about going out on their own, and they might have like these great ideas and they think of things that could be really fantastic products and companies, but just the whole notion of like, hey, I'm going to start this is really intimidating. What for you was what allowed you to kind of break through that and really pursue something that you're passionate about?
So, I just prepared. Like undergrad, I went to UPenn and they have a pretty great entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially with the Wharton School. And so I had exposure to that environment also just through working in technology. A lot of founders are either business people or technologists. And so just started getting exposed and seeing like what other founders or like what early stage startups are doing and going to events and talking to advisors of those sorts of companies. And then, it just made sense for me because I hit the ceiling in terms of what I could do at Capital One. I went through a lot of leadership development programs and like just had all the exposure to everything. And I had patents. And so it was sort of like I maxed out what I could do there technically and in terms of managerial sort of skills that I was gaining. And it was just time to do something new. And I was like, hey, why not? Why not try this? And some of it was personal considerations as well, in terms of like, I'm single and like relatively, still able to just like not, I don't have to necessarily consider other people. And there's not a lot of risk for me. Still relatively young. So yeah, that was all it was.
Yeah. And now, did you build the DentalFynd platform yourself? Where are you developing and coding it? Do you have a team that you work with? Talk us through kind of the product of bringing a product to reality.
Yeah. So I did not build DentalFynd myself. I definitely have a team that I utilize just because my technical skill sets are very niche in the AI space. So basically, yeah, I just have a number of people that I've worked with all over the world and that have come together with their skill sets, my skill sets. Of course, every now and then, because I am technical, there are things that I've jumped in to do and maintain or as needed. My focus primarily as a CEO is on like higher level business tasks.
And now, when you look at kind of the market, the overall dental market, and bringing this product to market, what's been the response? And, tell us a little bit about what you are most excited about with DentalFynd right now.
Sure. So it's been mixed response. So
I appreciate the honesty.
yeah, I'm always very honest. That's what we New Yorkers do, very direct. So yeah, basically there's been like kind of fragmentation where we have dentists who are older, who didn't have any debt coming out of school. They've always used insurance to acquire patients and they're very happy with it. They're sunsetting in their careers. They are getting ready to sell to a DSO, or they just have established such a good patient base that referrals have been fine and will be fine for them until they are ready to sunset their practice and sell it perhaps to a DSO. And then there are the younger dentists or just more modern dentists. Shout out to Dr. Harash Akemi, which I'm probably butchering his last name. He's a dental entrepreneur based in LA, and he is like very different from like a typical stereotypical dentist. He loves trying new things and loves building new things. So yeah, there have been sort of dentists. He's a huge extreme because he onboarded immediately, even though we've been primarily focused on the New York area. But people who are just seeing the future and understanding where patients are going in terms of their market interests and like just desire to want things easy, want things fast. And, if they're used to going on Amazon.com and purchasing sneakers and getting it next day and not having to spend a ton of time or not being confused about how much it's going to cost them, that's the same kind of ease with which they want to access and pay for their dental care. So a lot of these dentists are dentists who are already embracing social media, already embracing marketing tools and investing in that. So that's been our reception from that kind of fragment or that other like part of the dental space has been really great.
So how does it work for a practice or a group? So if I have a dental practice, am I advertising particular service or product to my existing patients? Or is the thought that it's a direct to consumer approach where I'm already interacting with the tool to seek out somebody that I would go see if I needed dental care? And maybe just further explain kind of how the process works and where the benefit lies for both the patient and for the practice.
So I like to call DentalFynd Amazon.com for dental care. And so for the consumer, it sounds like, you're asking, how does this work if the patient is wanting care? They would go to our website and put in their zip code or click on one of our featured providers and then find what they're looking for. So yeah, you could either put in your zip code here, which would be auto-populated, or click on one of our featured providers, say that you're interested in Dr. Noorani. You're like, hey, this is a great quality score. So information that you need in terms of assessing quality is very easy to understand and digest. We also have these plans, sort of similar to a membership plan like Clear or Subscribely, where the patient gets 2 free cleanings and then 15% on everything else. And the difference is that they can use this across providers and the dentist isn't like required to sell the patient on this. We in a way, as a DTC or direct to consumer tool, we're helping sell the patient on these membership plans that we offer. And so if you were looking for a whitening, for example, you would see that very clearly on Dr. Noorani's profile, see the pricing and be able to add it to your cart. I'm going to go ahead and log in just so I can avoid the sort of paywall there. So yeah, once I add this to my cart, I can click book and pay and put in some basic contact information. This is a demo, so just putting in some fake numbers here, put in some times I'm available, and this is going to trigger a request over to Dr. Noorani to approve. So yeah, at this point, you just like add your credit card information. If you have a plan, you would get 15% off. So I think that high level.
No, that's perfect. No, that answers my question. So if you are so there should be synergy as the scales between patients and providers, because the network will grow. There will be more providers available, more patients that are signing up for the membership that want to have the transparency in the pricing. They're more easily able to find providers. So you get that network effect and the value of your provider as well as a patient. And you've been predominantly launching in New York. Is that right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And right now we're in the process of heavily recruiting more providers, whether they're in New York or even outside of the area. We've been offering pilots for free. So if you're a dentist and you want to try this out and you're like, oh, this looks cool, I want more fee-for-service patients, or you just want to give your feedback, we're always open to people exploring. And so, yeah, we're working with NYU, specifically in the New York area. So there's that as well.
Very cool. Awesome. We'll come back to talk about technology and AI in a minute, but you've also founded an organization, People of Color in Dental. You founded this, I think, almost 2 years ago now. Talk me through kind of what your thought process was, where you saw a need, why you decided that this was a path that you wanted to take, and a little bit about the vision of the organization.
Sure. So it's been just a little over a year formally. And I founded it just because, to your earlier question, like, I'm not a dentist. I've never worked in dentistry. AI engineer who can build solutions. And so I didn't have any contacts 3 years ago or so when I first started working on DentalFynd. And I saw the communities that existed for women in the dental space, but didn't see that similar level of community for racial minorities or people of color, especially if you're not a clinician. So, or not like a dentist, not a hygienist, that kind of thing. And so basically, having just struggled over some years to build my network and make connections and move forward with DentalFynd, I thought to myself, it's better late than never. There's a lot of other people who are going to be new to the industry, either because they're students and just graduating. And so this is their first professional foray, or it's because they're coming from another industry like I was. And then just in general, like, it's always good to grow and to build your network. And, like, we're all still aspiring to new things and more advanced things in our careers. And so that's what drove me to found People of Color in Dental.
Got it. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about what type of networking is facilitated, what type of meetings take place, and maybe just kind of paint a picture of your vision for the organization, the benefit that members will receive from being a participant in it, and share a little bit about, what it looks like.
Sure. So mainly what we do is education and relationship building so that people learn what they need to learn and also make the connections they need to make in order to achieve their career goals. And so we have monthly meetings that can be virtual or in person. We have experts talk about the latest industry topics. We've had people like Eileen Day, who won an award for being a LinkedIn dental influencer. The dental socials, we have people like, I just blanked on his name for some reason, Elijah Desmond speak, and he's done a lot of shows in the dental industry, as well as a number of...
Let's see. DJ Smile.
Yeah. Exactly. DJ Smiles, as well as a number of DSO executives who are great allies of members. So we're an inclusive group. We've also given out discounts to shows. So that's one of the perks of being a member, aside from like the knowledge you gain and the exposure to really powerful people. It's also been a matter of sometimes money has been a factor for people getting access and growing their knowledge and growing their network. And so these conferences provide a lot of opportunity for that. And so we have a free membership to make it accessible to everyone. And we also have a full membership. So in addition to the invites to meetings and events, which free members get, our online communities like Slack and LinkedIn group, there's also, with the full membership, things like polo shirt, like swag, as well as access to our private Facebook group, and then dibs on those free tickets, which can be as much as $1,700. Like with Dicoma, we give out tickets to that. So it really pays for itself. So yeah, that's high level, some of the benefits of membership.
Pretty cool. How would you say, just kind of looking at the industry as a whole, which is a very large industry, but how do you think that the industry is doing in terms of diversity, welcoming diversity? Do you think of dental as a pretty diverse space already today, or do you think that there are a lot of opportunities where people can be kind of elevated and promoted and presented with new opportunities that maybe they weren't aware of? Kind of give me your kind of broad thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think for sure, like, dentistry is very diverse. I mean, in terms of like how welcoming it is, like that's like it's all a matter of perception and it's all relative. In my example, like the fact that I've been able to, in just like 2 years, make some really like strong strides in what I'm doing. Like, I was just recently featured by DSO Pro. People like Bill Newman have been able to really like walk the walk in terms of being an ally. People like Fred Joyle, who's been an advisor to DentalFynd, and he's a serious OG, like gangster in the dental space. I've really been very pleased. And at the same time, it's also a matter of being proactive and taking initiative. So certainly, like if you're willing to put in the work and if you're willing to like be uncomfortable and reach out to people, whether it's at a conference or virtually through LinkedIn, yeah, you can certainly be successful in this space. And then also just thinking about similar organizations like Women in DSO, who we've partnered with, people like Dr. Aman Kaur, they've been very successful. And I believe Planet DDS has done some stuff with them. So I would definitely say that, like, you've got to just pick the right people and listen to the right messages and kind of just like, if there are voices that are negative or not like open to who you are because you're different than maybe the mainstream, then that's something you just got to like move on and ignore.
Sure. Absolutely. When you think about founding either Pocket Dental or DentalFynd, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced, that you've had to overcome?
It was really just kind of the impetus for creating People of Color in Dental, which is that I didn't have any contacts and I didn't have any
Yeah.
experience in the field. So I was just super new. And dentistry is a very insular space. It's a very like small, tight-knit community where people kind of just go with who they trust. And so it's not really a matter of what the product is or if they have a need. It's just like, do I know you? Can someone vouch for you? Do I like you? The end. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. There's still a lot of education that needs to take place on the dental side. Well, let's maybe kind of zoom out for a second. You have a lot of experience in AI, either as it relates to the dental industry or just more broadly in society in general now. What are your thoughts on AI? What gets you excited? Anything that's concerning? And what are some of the things that you kind of follow along where you think it has the greatest potential utility for us?
Well, the strides with like Chat GPT are certainly encouraging. And like now it's mainstream. And like I remember when we didn't have the compute power to like scale stuff like Chat GPT algorithms. And so doing a lot of this natural language processing, which is behind chatbots, wasn't possible. And that's what a lot of like the AI that's mainstream that like the average Joe is talking about is a lot of these like large language models that are behind voice or text conversations. I would also say a lot of stuff behind crypto is interesting. And I see that like growing in terms of like using the technology behind cryptocurrency, specifically the ledger, to decentralize applications and give people more ownership over their data. Like right now, we have a lot of like big tech companies that kind of own a lot of people's private data, individual data, whether it's like Facebook or Google. And so being able to like take your data with you. And certainly kind of going back to dentistry, how companies like Pearl or Overjet are helping to diagnose treatments because they're able to identify caries or do diagnostics to increase case acceptance is also encouraging. I think outside of that, I do like the efficiencies that AI can create and to just like supplement people's jobs. I this is always a general fear. It's like, oh, well, is this going to like make me no longer valid? Maybe I'm a front desk person and now there's this bot answering the phones or
Right.
whatever.
So, yeah.
So I definitely think that like it gives people an opportunity to upskill and just be more valuable to their employers and just be able to do more of those personal things like catch up with the patient and build those relationships that are super important. So those are sort of like my brief thoughts on the space.
Yeah, I have not had too many people that brought up the utility of cryptocurrency. And I think there's a lot of validity there. I don't think that a lot of people think about the blockchain or the ledger and like exactly what that means and how it can offer some really kind of unique things. I heard somebody kind of speculating that perhaps there could be a mechanism that allowed for doing voting in elections, blockchain or using ledger so that you could have like a full trust, but fully transparent, like type of process. I think it's very interesting. And crypto has definitely gotten kind of a reputation for being a lot of other things, but I think that there certainly is some technology applications there that people don't think about too often either. So it'll be interesting to see. Tell me about like your application of AI within your day-to-day. You know, we talk about the ordinary Joe is kind of now embracing Chat GPT. I think to some extent, I think that there's so much complexity in how you can use these LLMs that a lot of people aren't necessarily using it to their full advantage. But like on a day-to-day basis, do you lean on it occasionally, sometimes? Are you like all in at this point? What's your approach?
Yeah, I'm very different than like maybe the average person. Like it's more of occasional for me because I don't believe in like overkill or like using a hammer for something if all I need is like a swat. Like I'm not going to kill a fly with a hammer because a lot of these AI tools, the computational power behind them is like atrocious. Like, you know, I'm sure you've heard a lot about how Microsoft is building its own nuclear facility, like, which is like what you use to build the atomic bomb. So, like, the amount of
Right.
power that these things are requiring is ridiculous. And so, and it's not very green at all. It's not great for the environment. So, yeah, I don't use in my day to day, it's actually very minimal in terms of like what I'm using AI for. With DentalFynd, we'll definitely utilize it more in the future in terms of like the patents behind what we're doing as it becomes more mainstream to do things like real-time matching of patients to dentists. So yeah, that's my as an AI practitioner, that's how AI comes into play in my life on the day-to-day.
Yeah. Now that you've been in dental for a bit, what are some of the things about the industry that get you excited or that you're bullish on?
Of course, things related to DentalFynd, like just the fact that I see like dentistry just being more consumer focused in the sense that a lot of the friction for the patient to see the dentist would be removed. Like things like online scheduling are already like pretty like mainstream and just going beyond that, such that if someone like has a skiing accident and they need a dentist today, and there was just a last minute cancellation with Dr. Smith, like being able to surface that and like sort of just get in like ASAP, right? Like that convenience that maybe it might be cost a little extra to get seen, but you're not waiting around and you're not thinking about, oh, does my insurance cover this or not? It's just like any other transaction that you experience as a consumer, whether it's like ordering food on DoorDash and like the ease with which we do that. So that's like one thing that I'm excited about. I'm also just excited about the ways in which we can create more, just like a more friendly space for startups. I don't know if that, like, it just seems based on what I've seen, like with the ADA and the Fourth Institute, like their investments in things like Oral Genome and Overjet and Pearl, I believe, yeah, all three of them. In the past, historically, the ADA and other like institutions or like dental associations have not really been embracing of technology. And so it's nice to see there's a bit of a tailwind or shifting kind of attitudes towards like, okay, let's be innovative. Let's stay on top of where the puck is going.
Last question for you. Where do you go to learn as somebody that, you know, is very busy, you operate a company and you're very technical? Like when you think of a culture of continuous learning, what are some of the any books, any podcasts, any things that you can recommend to the audience?
Sure. I do listen to a number of podcasts like this one, The Dental Economist. And there's also, I think you came out with a list actually. I saw on LinkedIn full of like this jobs.
A lot of dental podcasts there.
Yeah, yeah. And that was great. I also read books besides podcasts, like plug to Fred Joyal. He's written a number of really fantastic books on marketing in the dental space. And I believe one of them is like required reading. I think it's Marketing is Everything. It's like required reading for a lot of people getting into like the dental world. And then he also has Super Bold, which is great just for like kind of just jumping into things and doing things and just being yourself, being true to yourself. And there's newsletters as well. Like Becker's has a newsletter in addition to their roundtable. And I believe, kind of going back to your list, you mentioned one of the women DSO publications. Do also
Have a lead.
Oh, yeah, the lead was due on your list. They also have a publication.
Sure. Maybe I should add that.
Yeah. So, and then, I think you guys just at Planet DDS, you guys just rolled out, which I joined. I subscribed to it, but I don't know if I've gotten any emails.
The next one tomorrow, I think. So
Okay.
every other Tuesday, I believe, is when it comes out. So hopefully it hits your inbox then. But yeah, that's the morning grind that our team launched. And it's really nice. It's kind of like quick, witty, punchy, easily digestible, but good stories about kind of what's happening in the industry as a whole.
And then, of course, conferences. These days, I go more to meet people, but I always learn when I go to conferences. It could be literally from the interaction, like the conversations I'm having with people, or it could be sitting in a session in a more formal way.
Perfect. Well, Tobi, I really appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you? Where can people find DentalFynd? Where can people find people of color in dental? Can I share the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. So for me, LinkedIn is great. I'm very active there. So find me on LinkedIn, or you can email me. I'm also very open. So for this show, I think most of the audience is probably going to be very interested in DentalFynd. So Tobi@dentalfynd.com. That is Find with a Y. And then my name is Tobi, like eyes in indigo. And then for the website, it's just dentalfynd.com. So again, Find with a Y. So dentalfynd.com. And then for people of color in dental, it's just pockindental.org. So POCIN dental.org. And you can see information on how to get plugged in there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate having you on.
Thanks for having me, Mike. This was a blast. I had so much fun.
The Dental Economist Show is brought to you by Planet DDS, home of Dental OS. To find out more about how cloud-based dental software by Planet DDS helps unleash dentists and their staff to focus on patient care, visit www.planetdds.com. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes by following wherever you listen to podcasts. And thank you for listening.